Welcome everyone to today's webinar. We're excited to explore the groundbreaking advancements in surgical robotics, particularly the role that miniature motors have played in transforming this incredible field. These compact, high-performance motors have revolutionized the way medical procedures are done today, and they offer unparalleled precision, reliability, and of course, efficiency, enabling surgeons to perform intricate operations with greater ease and with minimal invasiveness. With the demand, of course, comes the need for continuous improvement, as we'll talk about today. Miniaturization, of course, isn't just a trend, it's a critical factor for developing the next generation of surgical robots that can adapt to the ever evolving medical needs. And of course, today we're talking with Antonio Herrera, who has over 20 years experience in engineering and product commercialization. Over the past 4 years, he has been an integral part of the Portescap team, where he currently supports the industry marketing for, of course, the surgical and industrial robotics. Portescap, in collaboration with Regal Rexnord, delivers customized high-performance solutions for each unique surgical application. Hi, Antonio. Are you ready to talk surgical robotics?
I am, Dean. Thank you for having me.
Oh, it is so much my pleasure. I've been looking forward to this since we first started talking about having this on our agenda, and I can tell you right now, it is my distinct pleasure to have you on here today.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
So, Antonio, could you tell us a little bit about your experience and your role?
Yeah, as you mentioned, Dean, I support industry marketing for surgical robotics and industrial robotics, as well as surgical hand tools for for Portescap. So this is a global role. Part of what I do, part of the fun is the market and application research, market development, and being that liaison between market, commercial, and technical. As you mentioned, I've been doing this for what 20 years, engineering and commercial roles. I have a mechanical engineering degree, and after being exposed to my first role as product manager over a decade ago, I pursued an MBA.
Tell us a little bit about what should the viewers that are watching this podcast, what should they know about Portescap?
Yeah, to summarize it, I think that there are a couple of keywords that can help drive the message. So one of them is miniaturization. I have a couple of samples here. But we have to give a sense of magnitude here, right? We're talking about miniature motors at heart. So this is an example, right? So in the large breadth of motor sizes, there are we are in this realm. So we're talking about these size of motors that can fit in the amp, right? Uh, Also optimization. So high performance solutions. Portescap thrive on solving complex problems. Motion profile comes into play. We're talking smoothness, responsiveness, control, torque, speed, efficiencies, and suitability for harsh environments, application experience as well, especially in the medical field for many decades, and collaboration. So we have a very rich culture of engineer to engineer support. So miniaturization, optimization, application experience, and collaboration, good ways to summarize the value for staff.
And what is Portescap's relationship with Regal Rexnord? And what does that mean if I'm a customer? What does that mean to me?
Yeah, Portescap is a brand of Regal Rexnord. Regal Rexnord is the parent company, over 6 billion market capitalization, so a large portfolio of over 60 brands. And these brands collectively provide solutions that power, transmit, and control motion. Interesting, Dean, when we show all the brands to customers in trade shows and presentations. Some customers, they get a smile in their face because they see a brand that they recognize they're working with, and they don't know it's part of Regal Rexnord. So what does this mean for customers? One partner. right? So under the Rico Rexon umbrella, we have the opportunity to provide all of these multiple solutions to collaborate to help customers solve problems, either uh, providing assemblies or integrating them. Basically, collaboration across the brand and with the customer, as well as global reach, right? So we have over 260 global sites, support customers, and basically with real record possibilities are endless.
That's tremendous, and I think, as a customer, it makes me feel more comfortable that I'm related to a brand that has so many, involvements in and across not only industries, but also, of course, across the medical landscape that we have out there. So I think that's tremendous. Now, how does Portescap support the field of surgical robotics, specifically like things like common applications and axes of motion?
Yeah, so technically, application experience in especially in the medical field, surgical, the collaboration, as I mentioned, very wide and uh, breadth and depth portfolio of motors. As I mentioned, motors at heart, but also other components like gearing, feedback devices, and controllers and drives for specific applications. And our philosophy of designing for optimum performance and optimizing into small and lighter packages. So, just to mention a few common applications, especially in the surgical robotics, I get the poster child would be the robotic arms, right? Very well known. So, when you think about a robotic arm in these settings, it's gonna resemble the motion and the form of an arm, a human arm, right? So, starting from the very tip of this arm, you're gonna have an end effector. So there are some surgeries, like laparoscopic surgeries, and these effectors need to get inserted in the human body to perform a procedure. So you can imagine the size and the precision they gotta have, right? So moving on, level up, you're gonna have insertion and extraction axis. So these cannulas that are part of the end effectors, they gotta be extracted on a linear motion. So these are also good examples where Portescap and other brands like Thomson out of Riverrex, where we collaborate to drive a really good actuation of linear motion. Now, moving on, right, we're resembling the human arm. We get to these rotary joints, and we're resembling shoulders or elbows. And this is where we have a very good collaboration with another brand called Paul Morgan. So Portescap and Paul Morgan, we have a very wide range of solutions, motors, and leveraging other solutions like Warden Electric for grades. So this is where the value of Regal Rexnord is starting to kick in, right? Assemble solutions. And going back to another simple solution is surgical hand tools. So envision operations where you're gonna have, for example, large bone surgeries or knee replacement, for example. So there are these handheld devices, power devices that could be saws or drills or reamers that are powered by Portescap motors. So one more thing to say is on these applications, some are exposed to very harsh environments. Some are protected by sleeves, but some are definitely exposed to environments. So envision a surgical hand tool is cutting tissue, right? So there are saline and body substances that these tools are exposed to, and then they gotta go through a process of sterilization. So we're gonna expose this hand tool with all the components, including motors, to high pressure, high temperature to clean them. So this is part of the knowledge that Codescap can offer in this industry.
Yeah. And I'm glad you had mentioned about, laparoscopic surgery, uh, because I think if people think about how small the motor is, but you think about how small you wanna make the hole so that it's less invasive. You have less problems. Our daughter is, she's a surgeon for a for women who are currently pregnant and different things that something may come up and there's an emergency and they have to go in and do C-sections or things like that. And there's no question that the less invasive it can be, the quicker that person can respond to it and the quicker their recovery will be, and less problems you have. So I'm glad you brought that up because I think that really illustrates it. Uh, so what are some of the other technical challenges in the surgical robotic applications?
Starting from the top, when human lives are at stake, the outcome is everything, right? So you're thinking about reliability. These systems, this suite of robotic solutions, they have to work. They have to work. They cannot fail. So reliability is number one, right? Performance. I mentioned precision, smooth responsiveness, but also torque, speed to do the job right, and efficiency and ergonomy. So a more nimble system, meaning a lighter, more compact, more efficient system, can provide a better outcome, can be faster, can help aid the surgeon to have less fatigue. Shorter procedure is a better outcome. So these are part of the technical features that matter inside the operating room. But then also there are other technical features that are not seen during the operation that go outside the room. For example, when you are a designer, an OEM building a solution, right? You have to think about integration. You have to think about the durability, the compatibility of the components, ease of assembly, reduction of part count. So these are technical issues and challenges that are not seen during the operation, but they're part of the whole solution. We support those.
And let's look at, from a customization and optimization standpoint, what does it mean, when you're trying to integrate that, and what does that mean for the applications like surgical robotics?
Yeah, this is one of those where you can answer with it depends because it always depends. So let me give you more color here. Uh, some equipment, some OEMs aim to solve specific problems. For example, some equipment in surgical robotic is targeted to large hospitals. And this distinction matters because a large hospital, when you think about it, is typically going to have a more resources, more capital, a more specialized operating room. The equipment tends to be larger, more versatile because you want to maximize the use of that equipment, right? So you could say it could be more complex. You want to achieve more things with the same equipment. On the other extreme, you can think some companies are developing solutions to improve health in rural areas. So for those devices, you're aiming towards smaller clinics. Typically, the solution is going to be simpler, scalable, more specific to some procedures. So the problem to be solved, it's similar in terms of the practices, the arrangements of the actuators and motors, etc. But they're aiming to two different complexities. So it comes down to meeting the operating point, right? So each axis of motion has a job to do from the graphers inside the body, doing the job pulling tissue and cutting tissue, to the wrists on those end effectors, rotating, moving sideways, to the insertion axis, moving linearly, to the joints, moving rotary, right? So meeting the operating point is number one. Second one would be minimizing size and weight. Again, nimbleness, a more nimble, a more versatile device is optimum. Uh, in some cases, you got to think about the suitability for the environment, and I'm speaking about the environment where the actuator with the motor is exposed to the heat, the pressures, the uh, substances. Right? And finally, the integration and design for manufacturability. This is this is key basically. And to do this, Portescap leverages a wide range of portfolio in terms of different type of motors. For example, brushless PC motors, brush DC motors, hybrid steppers. And also topologies like slotless motors, slotted motors, different form factors. Sometimes you can use a motor that is flat like this, but sometimes you gotta use a motor that looks more like a cylindrical shape.
Yeah.
So the
Very
form factor is important, and we have a broad selection to use to optimize solutions, as well as electromagnetic configurations, right? This is the custom, it's the hard, the number of poles, the coils, the magnets, in material for seals, bearings, and testing and validating. So all of these variables comprise customization and optimization, and we really take them into consideration.
mm. It's interesting you talk about the different packaging of the motors that you need for robotics. When should a designer or an engineer who's designing this optimization and the right application, when should they contact you? When should the customer engage with Portescap and why?
Well, as early as possible is always better. A couple of reasons. Collaboration keeping maximized. When you understand from beginning what is the goal, you can help the customer avoid errors and iterations. So it happens then that some customers that come to us and they already are advanced in their design process, and then it takes it takes time from their development from their launch because we have to correct errors in terms of manufacturability, for example, right? Maybe the designing paper is amazing, but it's not manufacturable or it's not cost effective, it's not sustainable. So the earlier, the better. Uh, so how early, right? You gotta have some boundaries here. So I would say that once the customer understand the goals of the equipment, have the load points that they want to achieve, a sense of what is the physical space available and what is going to power this solution, what is the power source, right? That is a good point to start engaging and to receive guidance and support that we can provide from samples, prototypes, production, ramp up to the whole life cycle of that suite of robotic solutions.
Excellent. And if what are some notable applications where Portescap solutions excel? What are some of the areas you specialize in?
Uh, just to summarize, optimum performance. When optimum performance is needed, precision, small light packages, form factor is part of the challenge. In harsh environments, considering pressure, heat, even regulatory aspect and certifications and to meet FDA or CE approvals, for example. These are excellent applications for Portescap because there's a lot of knowledge and experience. And just to go back to those applications where Portescap definitely excels at end effectors in those robotic arms, insertion and extraction axis, surgical hand tools, and rotary actuator, rotary motion in the robotic arms are just a few.
And what makes Portescap the preferred choice for customers?
Starting with application expertise, the technical knowledge that our team have and the understanding of not only the technical but also the regulatory, as I mentioned, right? It helps tremendously to avoid errors, mistakes, and save time and money. Also, manufacturability. So, a lot of experience, a lot of assets, and share resources across Reader Rexner to maximize manufacturability, uh, efficiency to manufacture solutions, collaboration as well, right? So not only within Portescap with the deep expertise, engineer to engineer with the customer, but also if the solution require a higher level assembly or an actuation, there is a lot of solutions to choose from in Rio Rexner. Uh, Global team. So presence in many countries. I don't know how many, different time zones, languages, And also, just to close, I think it's most important is our willingness to optimize via customization. Customization is not for everybody, right? Some companies excel at providing commercial of the shelf solutions, but at Portescap, customization is not a feature; is basically our foundation.
Excellent. And of course, what is the best way for potential customers to get in touch with Portescap?
Yeah, we have a lot of helpful resources in our webpage. Definitely from brochures to guides, application profiles, white papers, many different sources of knowledge and support can be reached there. So that have pretty good starting point for it.
Okay. And we'll show some of the links and things like that also. Antonio, thanks, of course, for jumping on and answering some of our questions today. You shared a lot of great info. Thank you very much for your time.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me.
Now, here's more from Portescap.